Aiden O'Connell is back as the Raiders return to Allegiant to take on the Steelers. This one, a gut check for both teams. Who will get back in the win column? Hall of Fame coach Bill Cowher from CBS gives us his take. And after so much noise, what's really ahead for the Raiders? NFL media insider Mike Garafolo joins the show. Plus, the future is now. We sit down with the NFL's top tight end, Raiders rookie Brock Bowers. The Silver and Black Show starts now. Welcome into the Silver and Black Show, everyone. I'm Amber Theoharis. The Raiders and Steelers are two of the most storied franchises in the NFL, but both enter into this matchup with a lot of question marks, like who should be starting at quarterback. The Steelers, they're sticking with Justin Fields, while the Raiders have made a change to Aiden O'Connell. And on defense, who will step up with key injuries to the front seven? Both teams are banged up. On offense, scoring points has been a struggle for both teams. The Raiders score 19 a game, the Steelers score about 18. So what is going to give? The Raiders have a chance to get to 500 with a conference win at home. And in this Jekyll and Hyde season, the question is, which Raiders team will show up this Sunday? To break down the matchup, we welcome in Hall of Fame coach Bill Cowher. You can catch him every Sunday morning on the NFL Today. Coach, it is so good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Good to see you, Amber. It's great talking about this great historic matchup that we have this Sunday.
Well, what's your best memory? I mean, you grew up in Pittsburgh. You're from Crafton, PA, before you even became coach of the Steelers. So what are some of your memories of these Raiders-Steelers matchups back in the day?
Well, you always think about the Stork and Ted Hendricks and, Jim Plunkett. And, matter of fact, I think my most vivid memory was in 1980, my first year in the National Football League. I was with the Cleveland Browns. And that was the infamous Red Right 88. We lost to the Los Angeles, to the Oakland Raiders at the time, and so it was been great memories with the Raiders down through the years, whether it was with Pittsburgh or even with Cleveland.
And I know as an analyst, you look at all 32 teams now. Just from your point of view, what's your overall take on the Raiders to this point in the season?
Well, I mean, we all understand the whole Davante Adams situation, and I understand both sides of it. I understand from Davante's standpoint where he is in his career and potentially wanting to go to a team that maybe has a chance to win a championship. And I know he's the consummate pro, and I can imagine Antonio Pierce. He understands it too because he's played the game and understands it. So I think that'll have a mutual respect that exists there. But I think it's a situation with Antonio. Like I agree with him. I think going to Aiden O'Connell right now is the right thing right now. Last week's game was a tough one to lose. You're 10-3, getting ready to go up 17-3, and all of a sudden you get a pick six it goes 100 yards. And those are they're hard to overcome those. And you have big punt return, then he gets the next big score. So I think for the Raiders, they've been right there. They still have a very, very good defense. I think that they've got a good offensive line. That they're trying to get more out of the quarterback position, more consistency. A lot like what the Pittsburgh Steelers are trying to do as well.
Yeah, the Steelers came out swinging though. They were 3-0, and then they've dropped their last two to the Colts and the Cowboys. What are you seeing from them through 5 weeks?
Well, I see him again. I think I think they got an identity on offense. I'd like to see them open up the offense a little bit more, just because they just don't have any big plays right now, and they're not able to create that. So I think that's the only thing I would say with them. But they have an identity and they're playing to the strength of their team, which has been their defense. And I think when you look at this game, the one thing you cannot overlook is the fact that you have two of the best pass rushers in the National Football League going against each other, that being Maxx Crosby and T.J. Watt. So, I think these are two very similar type teams. And the biggest thing is, I think what's hurt the Raiders is they've just been beating themselves with turnovers. And you're not a team that can win the games in the 20s and 30s. That's not how they're built right now. And the Steelers are very much the same way.
I love that you brought up Maxx Crosby and T.J. Watt, but both of their defenses are banged up. They'll be out there. Give me a player on each team on defense that you think maybe could step up that we should be looking for to help them out.
Well, I know it's going to be a big game for Robert Spillane. Let's just
He's your kind of guy, isn't he, Coach? I feel like he's your kind of guy.
He was that kind of guy in Pittsburgh, and I think he came out there, and I think he's one of his type of guy too. So It'll be a big game for him. So he'll have that defense pretty riled up, I think, on that side of it. And, Again for the Steelers, Highsmith is not going to be able to play. Herbeck is not going to be able to play. You're going to have to get a big game, I think, out of Patrick Queen. I think he's going to have to step up. Landon Roberts made a great play last week. The play at the goal line where he jumped over the line of scrimmage, and those are the types of old time Steeler plays and linebackers, and that's why this game's probably going to end up being one of those kind of games where points will be at a premium, and I think it'll be very, very important. And you have a chance to score that you take the points because it's going to be one of those games that'll come down to whoever probably has the ball last.
I want to go back to what you were saying about the Steelers having an identity on offense. Last week against the Raiders, we saw a young Bo Nix have a 100% completion rate against the Raiders when he scrambled and threw to the outside. We know Justin Fields can scramble. How dangerous can he be once he gets to the perimeter?
Well, he's a part of one of the weapons that they have. I mean, he's a dual threat. I mean, he's a threat to obviously to run with the football, and they got to somehow get George Pickens back into the mix and have him make some plays. So we're really struggling with getting some big 20+ yard plays. Those are the things I think both these teams have struggled, and they're kind of methodically being able to have to go down the field. And when you do that, there's no margin of error, and you can make one mistake and you find yourself punting. But I think you look at Justin Fields as again one of those guys that they use him as a runner. They use him as a dual threat. He can extend the plays. And he'll have to probably do that because of guys like Maxx Crosby. So they'll be aware of him. I think Maxx Crosby and TJ Watt will have more than just one player blocking them, but they'll be aware where they are on the field.
The Steelers have had some slow starts. When you look at the amount of points that they've scored, about 2/3 of them have come in the second half. Do you feel like, especially what you said about this being a defensive battle, that whoever gets out first is really going to have an advantage, who takes the lead early? They're not come from behind teams.
No, and I think, as long as you still have time, I think, again, the biggest thing is you don't want to be in a fourth quarter where you're 2 touchdowns back because you're just not built that way. So they'll be back and forth in this game, I can imagine, a kind of a feeling out process. And I think big plays, again, will be at a premium. And I like to see both these offenses open it up a little bit and be a little more creative in what they're trying to do and pushing the ball down the field.
I agree with you, and we've been talking about that a lot over here with the Raiders. AP wants this to be a run-first team with a strong defense, but the reality is right now the Raiders are the 30th ranked rushing offense. Even without Davante Adams, when you look at the other pass catchers that are on this roster, if you were the coach, would you just open it up and take your chances coming out throwing?
Yeah, I mean, they got, you got some very quick guys that they're very good in space. Jacoby Myers certainly is a talented guy that's there. Brock Bowers, another guy, can be a matchup problem for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, again, I think it's just being comfortable and making sure Aiden O'Connell is comfortable with what their plan is going in and doing the things that he can do. Him and Gardner are probably two different style of quarterbacks, a lot like Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. You will see whether Russell Wilson, he has not been the second quarterback yet this year, but he's had a very good week of work from what I understand. And let's just see if when the depth chart comes out, Justin's going to start, but let's just see if Russell Wilson's number 2 on that list.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with that game because maybe possibly we see Russell come in at some point. Who knows? You're talking about chunk plays that are lacking from the Steelers offense, but the Steelers defense, especially against the Cowboys and the Colts, really were giving up some chunk plays. Do you think this could be an opportunity for Brock Bowers?
It can be. I think, again, a lot of the miscommunications they had against the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, a lot of big plays were miscommunications, and the guys were on the same page. They talked about it this week. So, I think when you look at the Raiders, it's going to be, again, trying to maybe simplify what you're trying to do and identify that, to me, that's the guy that you want to take away. He's the big play receiver really for them right now without Davante. So, last week, I think you had CeeDee Lamb, you had some other players that they tried to take away, and they pretty much did a pretty good job of that. But some of the other players stepped up and made some plays for them. And that may be what it's going to be right now for the Raiders is you're going to have to beat the Steelers with some of the players that have been role players, may have to play a more prominent role.
You're a Hall of Fame coach. Antonio Pierce is in his first year, and he's experiencing a lot of things that first-year head coaches have to deal with, whether it's Davante Adams or, trying to get his team back up after a loss. What is some of your advice, or do you relate to some of these first-year coaches when you think about your rookie season?
Yeah, well, he's got a good mentor there, and Marvin Lewis. Marvin, I know we go back to high school in Pittsburgh, and we played against each other, and Marvin was with me in Kansas City when he was an intern, and I brought him to Pittsburgh as a linebacker coach when I first got the job. And so, we will go way back. And so I know right now he's in there with Antonio. He's got a lot of experience. He understands all of the different elements of being able to allocate your time and making sure that you got to have everything checks and balances. And so I think that's I'm sure, a very good resource for Antonio.
All right, Coach, finish this sentence. The Raiders will win this game if blank.
If they can run the ball and don't turn it over.
That's pretty simple, isn't it? That's a coach right there. Just establish the run game, don't turn it over. Hey, I'm going to take you, before I let you go, I'm going to take you on a walk down memory lane. This popped up on my phone the other day, and here's a picture of us on the sidelines, Thursday night football back in 2017.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever Michael Irvin was saying to you, you are not buying it. I could tell by the look on your face. You said, I heard this all before from you.
Well, Michael just never stops talking, but that was fun time with you, Amber, doing all those Thursday night games. We traveled all around. My wife was with me all the time, so it was kind of a fun part. Thursday night football, Sunday afternoon in the studio. So those were good times, but it's kind of nice now just to have the Sunday afternoons in the studio.
That's right. It was a good group. We had a lot of fun there. All right, thanks so much, Coach Cowher, for being here with us. We appreciate your time.
Thanks, Amber.
Coming up, there's a lot of noise out there around the Raiders. We sort it all out with NFL media insider Mike Garafolo. He's coming up next on the Silver and Black Show.
Some days are long, some nights never end. I mark the fleeting seconds flight, I pray to the coming wind. And time like snow never stood around for me. I love every sky I've ever seen.
Every year, millions fly with us at Allegiant because together, we go places. We see old friends and try new things. We laugh. We really like to laugh. And reconnect. We remember. And we wander, which leads to wonder. From how we go to where we go to what we do when we get there, we go further together.
Taste is not an option. Taste is everything. 1800, the world's most awarded tequila.
The Silver and Black Show is brought to you by Cox, proud partner of the Las Vegas Raiders. 1800 Tequila, official partner of the Raiders. Taste is everything. Please drink responsibly. And by Allegiant, the official airline of the Raiders. Low fares, non-stop flights, only at Allegiant.com. Raiders are looking to get back on track after not only a tough divisional loss to the Broncos, but a week filled with a ton of distractions. To help Raider Nation better understand what to expect going forward, we say hello to my friend, NFL media insider, Mike Garafolo. Mike, it's good to see you. How are you?
Hey, Amber, how's it going? Long time no talk.
I know. It's good to chat it up. I know. Yeah, it's been a minute, but you got a nice bookshelf since the last time we spoke, so you're looking good there. I want to get your general take. You cover all 32 teams. Nobody knows more about the inner workings of teams than you. What is your take so far, just what you've seen from this Raiders team and what they can expect to see against the Steelers?
Yeah, I mean, just coming in, I figured they were going to be one of the more unpredictable teams in the NFL. just because we it's a team that can go into Kansas City on what was it, Christmas Day, and beat that team there, and then still turning over the roster and trying to figure out when you've got a new regime coming in, who are your people, who are your guys, who are your cornerstones, and which cornerstones are going to be sticking around. I know we'll get into that in a second, but to me it was always a team that could come out and look flat one week, and you go, well, how could they possibly win this game the following? And then they come out and Antonio Pierce get these guys to rally. So he's going to have them fight. He's going to have them compete. I know that's going to be the case through week 18, no matter what the record is the rest of the way. So to me, you get a team like the Steelers coming in. They don't score a lot of points. It's a well-coached team. They're doing things to keep Justin Fields to be successful. And I still expect Justin Fields to be the guy, obviously, even with Russell Wilson returning to a full participant at practice. So it should be a tightly contested game against teams that are going to be out there playing hard and playing physical.
Yeah, a lot of similarities between the two teams right now. But let's talk about what you do for your job. It's public knowledge that Davante Adams asked for a trade. The Raiders have not said publicly whether or not they intend to trade him or not. Now, you talk to a lot of GMs. What do you know about a possible market for Adams as far as what the Raiders could get in return realistically?
Well, there's interest. And look, the fact that a deal is not done yet tells you that their asking price has not yet been met. Now, if you take this thing closer to the trading deadline, which is in a couple of weeks, November 5th, I believe is the exact, it's election day. We're going to have election day and the trade deadline on the same day. So if you take it closer to that, now you can get some teams maybe to start to up the ante a little bit. I know we look toward this week as a potential week to get a deal done, but there's a lot of moving parts. I know a lot of folks have connected the dots with the Jets, which there is interest from the Jets, but now they're out. A head coach having moved on from Robert Saleh and Jeff Ulbrich now coming in as the interim head coach. It's like that's been the focus of what they've been doing this week to get this thing operational, ready to go for a big game for them, which is still for first place in the AFC East. The Saints now losing Derek Carr for a couple of weeks, didn't win that game in Kansas City. I felt like if they had won that game in Kansas City, it would have really spurred their interest because they would have felt like, well, we're in this. Like we just need that final piece. So I think that hurt the Saints' interest, and the Raiders, not that they're relying on it, but that could have driven the market a little bit. So we're not there yet. I don't know if we're going to get through this week without a deal, but once we get into the weekend, it's like, okay, well, we'll see you next week because teams are going to start focusing on their games.
Yeah, what are you reporting is the sticking point that maybe is delaying some of these talks? If the Raiders are getting offers, you're assuming that the price point hasn't been met.
Yeah.
What are the sticking points there?
Well, it's a tough number for some teams in their mind because when you start to talk about second-round picks, teams start to think about them almost as first-round picks, if that makes any sense, because they know potentially you can get that first-round talent depending on – we had a draft last year with wide receivers. We were stacked with wide receivers. So they were getting what they had as late first-round talents all the way through the back end of the second round, potentially into the third round. So a lot of these GMs look at it and go – and every GM, they always think, oh, I'm the best at drafting picks. I don't want to give up my picks because I'm the best at doing, that's how they think. And that's why it's really been tough to get such a high price for a receiver who's on the other side of 30. Let's face it. I mean, how many years does he potentially have left? So you say, well, I can use my second round pick on a player that I'm going to be able to get 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years out of potentially, or a guy that we're going to get, 3 good years left, 4 maybe. That's a lot of times what is at play at the head. So, it's been a little hesitant right now for these teams to come strong. But again, if you push it closer to that trading deadline, sometimes these offers start to come up.
All right, let's talk about what's actually happening on the field. Raiders going with Aiden O'Connell. They make the switch at quarterback. Your thoughts on the move?
It's going to be interesting to see what kind of Aiden O'Connell we see because they wanted him to be more assertive, right? They wanted him to have more of a voice. Antonio Pierce wanted him. He told us in training camp that he wanted him to have more of a presence. People have to feel your presence. Well, there's no better chance to do that than in a live game, than in a live regular season game. So he is not the most I don't want to say he's competitive, but he's not that most outwardly fiery guy that you see on the field on the side. So I'll be watching his body language more than anything. I mean, he came in the game last week, but it's a lot different when you're the starter going into the week and you get the entire week to prep and you get that mindset right and ready to go. So I want to see that from him. I mean, obviously, he's got to play well, and it's a tough defense they're going against. I've had a number of people say this is the best defense in the NFL this year, and we're probably not saying that enough. Well, that's a tough first task for Aiden O'Connell with a full week of preparation as a starter. Let's see how he responds.
On the defensive side of the ball, story you've reported on this week, what do you know about Christian Wilkins as far as that specific surgery? I know you have covered players with a similar type of surgery. What can we expect as far as how long he might be out?
Yeah, I mean, it's a significant surgery. The Jones fracture. The problem with the Jones fracture is it's a part of the foot where there's not a lot of blood flow. So that's why you need the screw in there to kind of hold things together and kind of make sure that there is a healing process. You know, it's been talked about as like a 4 to 6 week thing, but it's more on the back end of that. It's potentially up to, I mean, I've seen it, especially in a big guy, I've seen it up to 10 to 12 weeks, something like that. So it is a long recovery practice. You don't want to refracture when you come back. So you want to be careful with that, especially when it's a guy where if you get a refracture, you can have lingering issues going forward. So you got to weigh the present with the past. So we'll see where the team is, see where the season stands when he comes back to that point and how they can handle that. But it's one you definitely want to be careful with. A lot of times in the NBA, you see it, a lot of these taller, bigger guys, and it really, really, really lingers. It's a different sport in the NFL, but when you're talking about 300 pounds on top of that bone on the outside of the foot there, it's something you want to be careful with.
It's only week 6, but I'll tell you, the Raiders aren't unique with how many injuries they have. You look at the Steelers, they have just as many injuries. You've covered the league so long, I have too. Doesn't it seem like this year that we always have a ton of injuries, obviously, it's the NFL, but this year it's so early. Yeah. We're having huge players go out early. Maybe I'm just skewed.
I mean, I don't know. Ian Rappaport and I it's tough to document this, but Ian Rappaport and I were talking about that. It's like every year everybody says, oh, there's always a lot of injuries. I feel like we've had a lot of shorter term ones. Like we haven't had that many out for the seasons, right? I don't think we've lost thankfully, knock on wood, I don't think we've lost a quarterback yet, have we? I mean, Jordan Love had that injury, but he was back within a couple of weeks. So I feel like there's been receivers, McCaffrey, the 49ers are hoping he's going to be back. I feel like
Anthony
there's been
Richardson
more
was
of
injured.
But I feel like we've had more of the shorter term injuries than so to us, like in our mind, we're thinking, well, it hasn't been as many ACLs or Achilles blowouts. Thankfully, again, we hope that continues. But that's the way that we kind of think about it. So, I mean, maybe the average fan, hey, it's affecting my fantasy lineup for the next 4 weeks. I've had so many of these. I had one guy who's like, dude, I have, this guy that last week, George Kittle. I forget who else he had. He's had like 4 guys. I said, well, you can't get rid of them because they're coming back. So it's probably been a lot of those kind of things around the NFL this year, which I guess is good because you haven't had the catastrophic ones, too many of them. But yeah, there's been a lot of guys that have injured, and some teams are experiencing, like the Rams had a bunch of receivers, a lot of them at the same position. They're getting clusters of injuries.
Yeah, you're right with that. Right now, if you look at the AFC, there really is parity. 9 of the 16 teams have either 3-2 or 2-3 records. Mm-hmm. I don't think many would have predicted the Broncos would have 2 more wins than the Bengals at this point going into the second quarter here of the season. Should Raiders fans be encouraged that really no one is out of this conference?
Sure. I mean, there's and you added the 7th playoff team a couple of years ago, so it really limits the number of teams that are quote unquote out of it. You talked about the Bengals. I could see a scenario where they win, 4 of the next 5 or something like that. I mean, they've got some winnable games coming up, starting with this game against the Giants on Sunday. So I really believe that it's even tighter than it looks when you just look at the numbers in the record. So yeah, I think we're going to be late in the season until we really get that separation of teams, and it may affect the trade deadline. It's why the Browns were the ones that wanted to push back, and they got to push back a week. They wanted to push back even further because at that point of the season, it's really tough to rule anybody out.
Yeah, that's a great point. All right, give me a bold prediction in this game. Something crazy that we might see in the Steelers-Raiders game.
A bold prediction. Here's a bold prediction. We see Russ. I'll make a bold prediction. We see Russ.
Russ.
I know Mike Tomlin is eager to make it happen. It seems like he seems like he's been in Russ's corner the whole way. When he made the decision for him to be the starter, it wasn't a consensus, I would say, that within the Steelers building. So I'll say at some point, for some reason, one reason or another, we will see Russell Wilson in this game.
See, you know your audience, because if we see Russell Wilson, that means that the Raiders defense did their job and contained Justin Fields. So congrats on knowing who you're talking to.
Yeah, but in my mind, I was thinking more along the lines of Mike Tomlin seems eager to see him. But you're right. That would mean that he's it could also be, again, could also be for injury.
Yeah,
so
not, but we'll see. Hey, Mike, you're the busiest man in show business. We appreciate you being here with us. Thanks.
Yeah, Amber, thank you so much for having me.
Always a good time. All right, ahead on the Silver and Black Show, he's as advertised and more. We sit down with Raiders rookie Brock Bowers next.
In 300 feet, turn left.
With Cox's fiber-powered internet, you can do brilliant things.
Exit approaching.
Like upload your voice to Dad's GPS in no time flat.
And I miss you, Daddy. Happy birthday.
Get multi-gig download speeds powered by fiber. Upgrade your internet today with Cox, the nation's fastest internet provider. Limited availability in select areas.
Taste is not an option. Taste is everything. 1800, the world's most awarded tequila.
Every year, millions fly with us at Allegiant because together, we go places. We see old friends and try new things. We laugh. We really like to laugh. And reconnect. We remember. And we wander, which leads to wonder. From how we go to where we go to what we do when we get there, we go further together.
He motions to the right. Minshew with play action to Madison, trying to settle on the pocket. Off his back foot, deep down the middle of the field. Bowers jump ball at the 35, and he takes off down the sideline. 15, 10, touchdown Raiders! Brock Bowers, first career NFL touchdown, is a 57-yard jump ball that he caught and took off for a score.
Well, it was quite a first touchdown in the NFL. Hanging out with Raiders rookie tight end Brock Bowers. It's good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
That was fun to watch. So many rookies that we interview throughout the years talk about how fast the game is and how it takes a couple weeks to slow down. It hasn't been like that for you. So what has allowed you to transition so easily to the NFL?
I mean, it was a little bit like that the first couple weeks. I feel like everything was kind of moving fast, but it's starting to slow down every week. So, I mean, I think that helped a lot with just, college ball. I mean, playing at Georgia at practice and everything was fast. So I feel like that kind of helped me is going to a big program and getting kind of like in those big games where everyone is NFL caliber players.
That is true. And playing in the SEC, I guess, kind of gets you ready for those types of plays. Who has helped you most in that transition?
To the NFL, I mean, I'd say just everyone in the building. I mean, the players help me out. Like,
but there's got to be certain ones that are a little bit more like, hey, I'll answer any questions you have, and then certain ones just go work out.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, I'd say just the tight end room in general. Like our coach, Coach Luke Steckel, he's awesome, and then all the guys around, it's just been amazing.
If I told you at the draft, and I was at the draft the day you walked across that stage, that by week 5 of your rookie season, you'd be leading all NFL tight ends in receptions and yards, more than Travis Kelce, more than George Kittle, Mark Andrews, what would you say?
I mean, I probably wouldn't believe you. It's pretty sweet. But I mean, just trying to keep focused, keep my head down, and focus on the next game. Just about winning. We want to win games, so.
But I imagine you kind of came up watching some of those guys. Did you used to watch them, and did they influence you at all?
Yeah, no, I remember. I remember watching Gronk when I was really little, and then as I grew up, like through high school and college and stuff, I used to watch Kittle, Kelsey, all those guys. So it's pretty cool being able to kind of just be in the league now. So.
What was it about Gronk that you saw that you said, you know what, maybe I could do that? Was there any skill set he had that really appealed to you?
I don't know. I just like his physicality running the ball. You see him just running over dudes and just stiff arm dudes. So I think that's always pretty cool to watch.
You got to take pride in that as a tight end. Aiden O'Connell's going to get the start. 2 young guys out there. What's the process been like preparing for this tough Steelers defense with a new person throwing you the ball this week?
Yeah, no, Aiden's been doing a good job, like staying in tune with the game plan and with the playbook and everything. You've got to at this level. So, he's done a good job the last couple of weeks. He could have gone in there and played any game. We have full confidence behind him, and I'm excited to see what he does Sunday.
You're part of a rookie class with the first 3 picks. They're already starters. You, JPJ, DJ Glaze has had an opportunity. What does it mean to you and your fellow rookies to be given so much responsibility in this offense so early? The organization has trust in you.
Yeah, no, it means a lot having all that trust from the coaches and the other guys on the team, just to go out there and do my thing. So, it's been fun for all of us, and just coming together through rookie mini camp and all those rookie meetings that we had. So it's been fun.
You got your first career touchdown. We just saw it coming in there against the Broncos. Longest first career touchdown for a tight end in Raiders history. Take us through the play. Are we going to see a lot of yak from you? Is that your thing?
I hope so. We'll see what happens, though. No, I don't know. I just kind of ran my route, and ball was in the air. I just jumped up and caught it, and then just ran. I don't know.
What was your 40 time? I don't remember from the combine.
I didn't run it in the combine.
You're fast. When I was watching that, I said, you don't say about many tight ends, man, once he gets the ball, it's a foot race. He's going to win that. Usually it's physicality, but not speed. Has speed always been an asset of yours? Yeah,
for sure. I think, throughout college especially, I was able to, I'm able to run decently, not as fast as some of the other guys, but, it's been helpful for sure.
19.5 miles per hour, by the way, if you were wondering. That's what Next Gen Stats had you. I think the top receiver's around 22, but that's pretty good. That's pretty good for a tight end.
I go a little faster.
You think it's faster? All right, we're gonna have to have you out there and clock you again. Where's the ball? Where's the touchdown ball?
It's at my house.
It is?
Yeah, they gave it to me. I brought it home.
Are you the kind of guy that just puts it on the counter and it takes somebody to come over and be like, can we please put it somewhere nicer?
It's actually sitting on the ground, in the corner of my room.
We got to work on this. We got to get somebody over the house. Antonio Pierce, he said that you're a special player that continues to get better each and every week. What is your mentality as you navigate a rookie season week to week?
Yeah, like you said, just focusing week to week and game to game. Nothing else matters except for the Steelers this weekend, and so we're just kind of focused on them and kind of give my full attention to them because it doesn't matter if we don't go out there and produce on Sunday. What
needs to happen, do you think, in order for this offense to maintain consistency? Because we've seen glimpses of what it can be.
Yeah, no, a big focus is just staying consistent and starting fast and continuing just to keep attacking the defenses. Just continue on that same trajectory and just being consistent. That's the main thing. I feel like we've had great drives, and then we had drives where we just don't do anything at all. So it just kind of that consistency part is huge.
Let's go back to where you grew up, Napa, right?
Yeah.
And that's where Raiders training camp was. Did you ever go out to Raiders training camps?
I did. Yeah, they used to have a youth football day, so they'd get the youth football people out there. So I've been a couple times.
Could you ever, in your wildest dreams as a kid, think that you would be on the Raiders?
No shot. I don't think so. Yeah, it wasn't even in my mind. I was just kind of out there playing football.
Who were the players at that time that were out at those camps that you remember? Did you ever have any interactions with any of them?
The main run I remember, I think, is Derek Carr.
Yeah, I bet he was pretty cool too. Yeah.
Pretty sweet.
When you look forward to the last 12 weeks of the season, what are the main goals that you've set for yourself?
Oh man, I don't know. I don't really have any long-term goals really.
You just go week to week, really?
Yeah, I just kind of focus on each day and just try to.
It's a laid-back guy.
I don't know.
65-yard touchdowns. We're just gonna keep doing that.
It stresses you out if you look too far ahead, I feel like.
I think that's a good mentality to have. Brock, it's good chopping it up with you. It's good getting to know you, and Raider Nation, I know, loves getting to know you as well.
Thank you.
See you out there this Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
Coming up on the Silver and Black Show, why a 60% Maxx Crosby is better than some of the NFL's top defenders. And one last thing, next.
Some days are long, some nights never end. I mark the fleeting seconds flight, I pray to the coming wind. And time like snow never stood around for me. I've loved every sky I've ever seen.
Oh, set me free. Chains and holding me. No time to sleep. The daylight's coming fast and it's counting on me.
Every year, millions fly with us at Allegiant because together, we go places. We see old friends and try new things. We laugh. We really like to laugh. And reconnect. We remember. And we wander, which leads to wonder. From how we go to where we go to what we do when we get there, we go further together.
Taste is not an option. Taste is everything. 1800, the world's most awarded tequila.
The Silver and Black Show has been brought to you by Cox, proud partner of the Las Vegas Raiders, Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Las Vegas Raiders and the NFL. And by Allegiant, the official airline of the Raiders. Low fares, non-stop flights, only at Allegiant.com. Raiders.com is your home for all things Silver and Black, featuring exclusive interviews with players and coaches, breaking news, and daily content. Raiders.com keeps you up to date all season long. Time now for one last thing. This Raiders-Steelers rivalry goes back to the 1970s, where some of the baddest dudes on the planet squared off. True warriors like Mean Joe Green right there and Jack Tatum made the matchups gladiator-esque. This Sunday, we get to see the modern interpretation with TJ Watt and Maxx Crosby on the field.
We need a lot of hands on them. Whereas just find 90. That's our Waldo. Wherever 90 is, man, get a couple hands on them, get a couple bodies. But, I mean, a tremendous player. When you put two players like that on the field, I think as a fan, you have to really respect the level of play that you want to get from the two gentlemen.
Maxx Crosby returned last week after missing his first game ever as a Raider, and despite playing on a high ankle sprain, Crosby had 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, and 2 quarterback hits.
I train all year round to be in these positions, and if I'm not 100%, I believe my 60% can compete at the highest level. So I'm getting better and better. It didn't get worse. I was able to go out there and play a lot of snaps and help us, help us make some plays.
Despite losses of Malcolm Kuntz and now Christian Wilkins on the defensive line, Crosby is having a Defensive Player of the Year type of season, better than TJ Watt, Nick Bosa, and the reigning Defensive Player of the Year, Myles Garrett. Take a look at this. Crosby is tied for 5th in sacks, while TJ Watt and Myles Garrett are 9th and 10th, respectively. Crosby is currently 2nd in the league when it comes to tackles for loss with 7, while Watt is at 3rd and Garrett is way down there at 22nd. Max only trails the 2 former Defensive Players of the Year in quarterback hits. Watt leads the bunch with 10, But here's the catch. Maxx has only played in 4 games. Watt and Garrett have both played in 5. So Crosby is putting up these types of numbers with a bad ankle, 1 less game played, and now 2 of his 4 starters on the defensive line gone. If there were ever a time to be thankful for Maxx Crosby, it is now. And if the Raiders are going to pull out of the funk Sunday against the Steelers, there's only one man to lead them. That'll do it for us. It's Raiders back at Allegiant Stadium taking on the Steelers. 1:05 kickoff. We'll see you out there, everyone. Have a great weekend.